Oh, my sound's weird in my headphone. Hi guys, turn the music down a little bit. Hopefully you can hear me. Yep, mic appears on. I need to work out the levels in my headphone. Let me just play an alert. Don't hear the alert at all. Oh, there we go. Okay, don't know what's going on there, but I've got a weird hissing in the headphone. Welcome to the stream, guys. Who we got here? We've got Mr. G, Andy, Control Plus. Oh yeah, I will do in a second. Andy, Mr. G, CC Vosai, 4i Steps. Hi guys. Let me do that for you right now. There we go. Old man mode. Let's close some of these down to see what's going on. Is it possible to capture Gameboy Color? Yeah, it is. So I deliberately bought. Show you. So I bought a GameCube. With this thing, which hopefully will just come off, which is the Game Boy Player adapter. You plug this into your GameCube, and then you can plug Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color or Game Boy games into it, which is really cool. So that's how I'm going to be streaming stuff eventually. I did do a little bit of gaming on it on stream, so is it the only solution? There is the Gameboy Consolizer as well, so there is the let me see if I can find this. There's a few solutions, so this is probably the best solution, but it's expensive. It's called a Gameboy Consolizer, Game Boy Advance Consolizer, and basically it comes in two formats. There's a standalone console and the add-on for a Game Boy Advance. They're basically the same piece of technology, except with one, all the guts of the Game Boy is removed and put into a console. The other one is just the video. The screen is replaced with this, and this lets you play anything you can play on a Game Boy Advance, but through HDMI using a SNES pad. So that's one solution. Then there's this thing called the Homeboy. Is that Nintendo Homeboy? Let's see if I can find it. It's quite rare, but it does exist, and it's like a strange Japanese kind of a clone Game Boy Advance console. Can't find it though. It's not in here. I did see a video of somebody who managed to get on, but I can't find it. But they're quite rare. I think if you live in Japan, you can probably get one quite easily. But in the UK, you just can't find them anywhere. So that's another solution. That's a lot cheaper. That's about £50 or £60. Yeah, with HDMI out. Yeah, exactly. Is it HDMI out? It might actually only be composite out, but you can still run it through an OSSC and convert it for a stream. So there are ways to do it. There isn't, unfortunately, there isn't a direct way that I know of from the Game Boy Advance or the Game Boy, but there are ways to do it with like add-ons, and I say the Game Boy Consolizer is probably the best one, but you are looking at about £200. So. Okay, tonight I'm drinking Marks and Spencer's and mojitos. So I just had an urge for mojitos the past couple of days. They taste very little like mojitos, but they're quite nice. Any intro coding attempt for Game Boy Color? Yeah, I mean, it would be a fun thing to code for, I think. It's certainly a lot friendlier to code for, to code kind of effects than the Commodore 64, because you don't have to deal with quite as many strange things like bad lines and kind of and stuff like that. You do still have like weird limitations, but they're a lot more predictable than on the C64. Well, the C64 ones are predictable, but they're a lot easier to understand than on the C64. C64, you have to understand some crazy stuff like what order the sprites get fetched from memory, and kind of what happens if I put this sprite in the border and stuff like that. So, and your timings have to be kind of spot on. There's a lot of nice stuff in the Game Boy, like the horizontal blank interrupt is really nice. So it lets you do stuff that only happens inside the horizontal blank area. And even if your code extends beyond that, it will stop running that code while it draws the rest of the screen and then go back to it when it's in the side. One other thing I wanted to show you, because I was quite shocked by this. So I got my 1581 drive for the Commodore. So this is a 1571, which is pretty big. I don't know if you can see that. I mean, if I put my arm against it, you can kind of see how big it is. It's as long as my forearm, basically. 5¼ inch drive, meant for the Commodore 128. Works fine on a C64, but you don't get the double-sided kind of the double-sided stuff with the Commodore 64. This is a 1581. It fits almost perfectly lengthways across the width of this 1571, and it's about a third of the size. It's so tiny, and it's such a good drive as well. I'm really, really pleased with it. So I've been on a mission writing games to proper floppies, proper 3.5-inch floppies, which is really cool. It's been a while since I used those. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that drive. It's nice. It takes a long time to write those discs. 800 kilobytes is a lot for the Commodore to fill up, so it does take a while. Let's get this on me because it's really, really warm in here. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention as well, I think I briefly mentioned it in chat. I'm going to mention it again here. Yeah, I mean, the loading times are the same as the 1541 pretty much. You know, fast load will improve it a little bit. Some stuff will use burst mode, but generally it's as slow as the 1541. But the advantage is you've got 800 kilobytes. You can fit like 5 discs worth on one disc, which is nice. Just waiting on a Zoom floppy so I can actually write the discs from here as well. Apparently you can get, if you just get a floppy drive for your machine, you can actually write the discs directly from your PC without any use of the real hardware at all, which is kind of nice. So I might do that at some point. Apron's face. So yeah, what I wanted to mention before we get started on this is somebody mentioned on my last stream about Patreon and what's my goal with that. Let me put my Patreon link in as well. And so the original point of the Patreon was just as some additional support really for the stream. And I've struggled to find a way to give patrons something back. The PDFs were a good idea, but after 5 or 6 episodes, I realized I was spending as much time, if not more time, sometimes 10 to 12 hours writing each of those PDFs. They take a long time, and it's hard to keep up with a stream. So I've kind of accepted that they're probably not going to get finished anytime soon. I probably will finish them eventually, maybe in a cut down version, maybe rewrite it for a kind of simpler game, because I do want to finish them. But what I've decided to do instead is I get enough money from Patreon every month to buy a few things that I want to give away on stream as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with some Commodore 64 cartridge games. So I'm going to go through all the cartridge games I can find, all the new release cartridge games. So anything that's come in the past like 10 years, released in the past 10 years. I'm going to get those copies of those, and I'm going to give them away on stream. So it'll be open to everybody. You don't have to be a patron to enter the competition. You just have to be a follower of the channel. And what it will be is probably on a Saturday. I'll open the giveaway. I'll leave it open till maybe midnight or something like that, and you'll be able to buy a ticket to enter. There's no actual cost. You just kind of you get a ticket for free. Anybody who's following can get one free ticket. And then at midnight or so, I'll do a draw, and whoever wins will win the cartridges, and we'll get them shipped to you straight away. But could random people just join and get a cart they never come? They could, yeah, they could, absolutely. But I'm hoping that it's a way of kind of rewarding the people who are on. I mean, I can actually tie it to channel points as well, so I could make it so that you have to have so many channel points to enter the competition. I need to have a think about how to do it properly. So I've been looking up a little bit about what to do on that. And then when we've kind of exhausted the Commodore 64 cartridges, I might start doing some hardware giveaways. I might purchase some kind of C64 machines, some 16+4s or whatever. Get them fixed up. Get power savers put into the power supplies or into the machines themselves, and give away actual Commodore hardware on stream as well. I want to reward you guys. I don't need the money that comes from Patreon. I appreciate it, but I don't need the money that comes from Patreon, and I want to give back to the people watching. So yeah, I might do it. I might do it based on channel points, and then you at least have to be kind of a fairly regular, or you if you want to enter a competition every time I do one, you have to at least been watching for so long. So I'll probably do some looks at how many channel points you guys have got, and kind of what the rate you get points is, and do it based on that. All right, so with that said, let's crack on with tonight. So what I wanted to do tonight, thanks for the host, Andy. Appreciate it, dude. What I wanted to do tonight was something a little bit, I just want to kind of step away a little bit from the kind of sprite code and the control code, and start looking at something a little bit different, because I need to figure out how I'm going to do this effect. So I was messing around with my editor today, just to see if I can run this. I think if I just save that, it should run. So the first giveaway will probably be in 2 to 3 weeks. It's probably going to be somewhere in the middle of the month, and I'll do one a month. I mean, there's nothing stopping me opening the entries up a week earlier and giving people a week to enter, just so there's more people enter. I don't know. I'll have a think about it anyway. I might chat with the people in the subscriber channels to see what they think might be the best approach. I can't just give away a prize to patrons, because it's against the conditions of Patreon to host giveaways that exclude people who aren't on Patreon, which is a bit weird. And also that would cut out Twitch subscribers as well, which I don't like. I don't just want to do it for subs. I don't want people to sub to my channel or pay for Patreon just to win these prizes. I want them to do it because they want to do it. So I'll have a chat with you guys on Discord through the week and figure out how we're going to do this in the most kind of sensible way possible. Okay, so let's have a look at the editor. So this is the editor I've been using. It's a custom thing I've done in Electron and Node. And today I added in the ability to switch between two tile sets. So you've got your original tile set here, and then when you swap tile set, you get the Petsky tile set. And ignoring the fact that the tiles are actually in colours instead of Gameboy Palette, I realised it doesn't feel quite right for a Game Boy. It just doesn't seem like it's the correct thing to do. I mean, let me just change the palette on these things. Even with the Game Boy Palette in place on these tiles, it just doesn't feel. It doesn't feel right. Let me zoom in on the first screen here, for instance. Turn the grid off. I mean, there's some kind of weird pattern in there. I don't know what that's about, but it just doesn't look quite right. And I decided that I'm probably not going to do this quite the same on the Game Boy. So my idea is that what I'm going to do is, instead of see, why is it separate? Oh, because these are the mountains, aren't they, in the background? But... so even though this would give it a more accurate representation of what it's like on the C64, what I thought was, the joke in the game is that you're going back in time, right? And that the game represents that with the Commodore, it represents the Commodore 64. It becomes, you know, a Commodore 64 from 1982, 1983, and the games likewise have, you know, Petsky graphics, because people weren't doing kind of, you know, very advanced graphics with the first few games. And so that's kind of the joke. So I realised that what I could probably get away with doing, so it just doesn't, I mean, all right, there's gaps here and there, but it just doesn't look quite good enough in my eyes. So my idea was, instead, what I'm going to do, just load it up again. Same reason you can't do buy a bottle of wine and enter the combo. It comes on a regularity, which is legal. Yeah, I don't want anybody to have to pay to enter these competitions. All I ask is that you follow me, which I think isn't a huge ask, and it just makes it's another thing to kind of put off people or bots, for instance, doing this. And I think if we have the limitation is a follow and so many channel points, then that would probably be all right, I think. Okay, right. So if I load the project in again, so I was thinking is using the Gameboy Palette. So this is the Gameboy Palette, and just applying it to. Oops, I don't know why it's just on that, but okay. Applying it to the entire screen, but with the original graphics. So what you will get is, instead of a change in graphical style, you'll get a change in palette, and it will go from a nice colourful to monochrome, which represents what the Game Boy was. The Game Boy Color was just a coloured version of the original Game Boy. I think it would still have a decent effect. We will have to remove some things. So, for instance, ladders won't exist in the old world, but they'll exist in the new world. Things like that. So, just trying to show what it would look like. So hopefully that covers most of it. Right, and there. Here. Oh my god, how many are there? Fortunately, I didn't do enough in my editor to make this easy to implement just through the editor. So I kind of changed my mind on whether or not it was going to work. But I think you can kind of see the idea, and it kind of looks okay, I think. You know, we toned some of it down, but you get the idea that it is looking more like an original Game Boy game. And if this could change on the fly as things happen, I think it would look pretty good. There we go. So that would be what the screen would look like on the original Game Boy. And you can see it does look like an original Game Boy game. So so it won't work on the original Game Boy. No, because the whole point of this game is it needs to switch between two graphics modes. So originally I was going to do it with the Petsky mode, but I don't think that quite worked. It just didn't look right. And I think for a Game Boy owner as well, they would be looking at thinking, why are the graphics this bad? So I think I'm going to go with it in this mode. The only difference will be is that the enemies themselves will... actually, the enemies won't change, but the player will change to a stick figure. So that will happen. And we might tone some of this down. So, for instance, on this screen, we might get rid of the these things in the back. Why can't I draw on there? I don't know why I can't draw on there. Oh, there we go. I might get rid of those here just to kind of make some difference between the two levels, but kind of subtle, so there's not a huge difference. So, for instance, these would probably be gone. So there'd be less animation. The waterfall down here would be gone as well, as per the original game as well. You didn't have you had the water, but you didn't have the waterfall. Bridges are gone in this mode as well, so you wouldn't have a bridge here, nor would you have these. So there will be a second character set, but it will pretty much be the original character set with some of the stuff deleted out of it. And I think that will probably work quite well. And it actually means that the effect can be quite simple. The effect literally just has to go through the screen, changing the screen attributes for every character on the screen to either the correct screen attribute color, or the predefined palette, which would be palette 0 in here. So let me export everything. I'm not going to save the map, but I am going to export. I'm just going to export everything just so I can grab the palette information. It's the only thing I need from this is the new palette information. Thanks, Bitmapsoft. Yeah, so I think that's what we're going to go with. So what I want to try tonight is to get this effect to work. So on one of the fire buttons, we'll just have it so that if you're in one mode and you press the fire button and the mode isn't already transitioning, then you can trigger the transition and it'll switch between the two. Hopefully it should be relatively simple to implement, but I know me and I know Gameboy Z80, and I know I'm probably going to be cursing quite a lot, so we shall see how that goes. Cool. That's Game Boy is another thing as well. If we run out of kind of stuff to give away, or I feel 1 month that giving away a Game Boy might be a thing to do, I might purchase one of these kind of refurbed Game Boy Advances with the backlit screen. And where's the off button? And one of these flash carts, and give away one of these on stream as well. So there's a few kind of cool things we could give away on stream. So, but I want to start with the Commodore 64 games. I want to go through pretty much every cartridge that's been released in the past 10 years and try and do that. Try and give those away on stream. Sometimes I'll give away bundles of maybe 2 or 3 games. Sometimes it'll be 3 of the same game given away to 3 different people. I'm not sure how we're going to do it yet. And as I say, that'll start in about 2 weeks' time, I think. I need to figure out what games we're going to start with, and kind of and obviously get them and get them delivered and stuff. And then once they're delivered, we can do that on stream. I might do it as a I don't know. I'll think about that at a later date. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got so far in the game. Okay, what's that not? Oh, because I'm on. Let me minimize that. So this is the actual game. Okay, so ignore the animation. We're just going to leave that as it is. We don't really care about the. I can't remember what the jump button was now. There we go. We don't really care about the collision or anything at the moment. This is something we'll come and sort out soon. Just not yet. It feels wrong. The jump doesn't feel natural at all, so we'll work that out at a later date. But the collision seems pretty solid, and the animation system seems to be working, so that's good. And I've lost the guy. But what I want to do now is, so on one button we've got the jump, so on the other button we're going to have the can make that preview double size. Yeah, hang on, let me run that again. So on one button we've got jump, and on the other button we're going to have the effect kind of happen. So you can see that there's problems here with the vision. It's a bit too, for a start, you shouldn't be able to collide into these things, and this is why the collision's so janky there because the collisions in this game tend to work on full squares, and this is not a full square. This is kind of half of a square. So you can kind of stand on the edge of the half square here. That won't happen when the correct collision is put onto these things. You'll just fall through it. But at the moment, I think button A, button A is jumped, so we're going to make button B the effect. So to make this effect work, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to go through every single tile on the screen and change its palette attribute. Now, we don't need to do these bottom two rows. The HUD is never going to change, and that's going to be one thing. Or will it actually? Maybe we should do it with the HUD as well if we're just doing it the original way. Not doing it the original way and just doing a palette switch. Yeah, I think we'll do every color on the screen. I think it's fine. I'm just worried that the keys are going to look a bit funny because they're going to be. No, we shouldn't actually, because these keys are going to look wrong. So we'll just do it to here. So the HUD will always be in full color, and it's just the rest of the screen that's going to go into old Game Boy mode. But in order to do that, we can't change these things while the screen is being drawn. So we have to either do it to the side here. What about doors? Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I have to have a think about that. The thing is, the palette switch is definitely going to happen. So maybe if we can make these 3 different shades of green, then they will match. So you're too quick with the listen. Remember, you lag, so. And you've fallen for the propaganda that I don't read chat very often. And it is propaganda because I do try and listen to it quite a lot, so read it quite a lot. I do read chat. This is terrible for not reading. It's difficult. Streaming, I get why people do it. I mean, everybody does it. I mean, everybody does it, but only a few people complain about it. That's the difference. I mean, it's, you know, if this channel had 10,000 viewers, I wouldn't read a single bit of chat. So just, you know, we're kind of living in a privileged world, in the retro world, where our community is small enough that we can have the time to talk to people. So just can't read English. He's got an excuse. Ooh. Okay, right. So the way this is going to work is once a frame, we're going to when the transition happens, we're going to start from the middle of the screen. So the transition is always going to be from the middle of the screen. And so we're going to have 3 states for the transition. We're going to have no transition at all, transition into old style, transition into new style. So in any of the transitioning states, when they begin, we'll start with a single line across the middle of the screen. Actually, it'll probably be 2 lines. 2 lines in the middle of the screen. And they will be marked as the next line to transition. Then on the next frame, when it can do the transition, when it's got time in the H blank or in the V blank down here to do it, we will change the attributes for that line, and then we'll increment the counter so that the next line on either side comes out until and we'll just repeat that until it goes all the way up the screen. Then when it's filled the screen, we'll switch back into non-transition state. So that's the idea anyway. So how are we going to make this work? So transitioning to the Game Boy Palette is going to be quite simple, because that just means going through every single one of these and setting a particular bit to change the palette. The problem is when we want to change back, we need to have that information recorded. So I'm going to start by just doing the transition first. So it will just be a transition from here into original Game Boy Color. And then once we've got that working, we'll talk about how we can remember the original colors for all of these, because all these original colors are stored in the meta tile data. And I don't want to have to go through the meta tile data to do this, but we go through the meta tile data anyway to draw the map. And we actually make a shadow copy of the map. So we could just make probably a shadow attribute copy of the map somewhere, which stores the original attributes. And in fact, we can probably combine them into a single thing. So we just have collision attributes and palette attributes as well. Hey, Hayes, welcome to the stream. See how I read chat? It's Hayes that. It's Hayes that started this horrid rumor that I don't read chat. I read it as much as anybody else. All right, let's give it a go. Hayes joined 10 minutes ago. Did he? I didn't see. No, you're kidding me. I didn't see him say anything. He didn't say anything. I'm upset. I don't care. I really don't care. I don't care. Yeah, you meant, but Hayes is quite good. I mean, Hayes does like to point out that I don't read chat, which is fine. I don't mind. He can say what he wants. I kind of find it funny. It's kind of between that and the Creatures 3 stuff. My God. All right, let's take a look. So we're gonna need some state somewhere. So let's create a transition state here in RAM. Oh my God, what's that? Oh.
Pay-per-view dance game smear cash barjo on 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 barjo on.
Oh, Andy. Ooh. Hayes reads chat and finishes games quicker. Meh. Yeah, Hayes is a much better game player than I am, though, to be fair. I'm freaking terrible at games. That's why I'd rather make them, to be honest. Okay, so transition states. So we're going to need a few variables here. So first of all, we're going to need whether or not we are transitioning. So let's create some trans off. So these will be our states that that define what the transition is currently doing. Trans cold, which is going to be the one that we're going to work on first. And trans new. But we're also going to need some other information here. So we're going to need to know which two lines we're currently working with. So she's been playing Luma tonight. I missed that. I was asleep. God damn it. God, he's really not giving up, is he? He's determined to complete that game. Oh, finishes games as in writes games quicker. Okay. Yeah. But then again, I've written 2 games in less than 24 hours, so each, so some bit. I nearly did another one as well yesterday. But it just didn't work out. I was going to do like a downwell kind of bouncy ball sort of thing, but it just I just wasn't feeling it. I got the basic engine up and running. It just didn't feel good at all. Okay, so we need some line numbers in here. So transition top line and transition bottom line. Actually, I think if we make this a word like that, then what we can actually do is just hold the addresses, and we don't have to calculate them every time. Okay. So on initializing, we need to set this to transition off. So that's the first thing we're going to do. When are you going to start doing dev streams for your Cockatoni Wolf, Legend of Wolf? Is that something you're planning on doing from the beginning, or are you going to kind of do? Are you going to get it kind of going a bit more first and then do a bit later? Or are you not going to do it at all? Because I do enjoy watching those streams. It's kind of cool to see people learning this stuff. I think it's pretty cool. I would have liked to have seen Bungling Bay, but I don't know. I think Cockatoni Wolf could be interesting. It's probably the next step up, I think, because out of those 3 games, I'd say Cockatoni Wolf is probably the easier of the 3, but it's still got enough stuff different from a Game & Watch game means it's going to be at least a challenge for you. And I think you learn the best by challenging yourself just a little bit every time. So I think you probably made the right decision there with the game. And what a game to do as well. I'd like to see a full Neil A. Bates series, please. Okay, right. So let's focus. I'm getting distracted. So we've got initialize the player. It is kind of a player thing, isn't it? Being able to control the transitions. So where is it actually called? Is it called in main? Init player sprite. Okay. Okay, I'm going to change that to init player. And then in here, I'm going to have init player, which is going to set up things like actually these could just be 0, right? There's no reason for that to be. Store that in the transition state, for God's sake. Right, so then I can call it is this the level? Oh, I kind of want to have a look, see which level it was. Oh, yes. Yes, I remember that level. I do remember that level. What I like about that level is there's a level a little bit earlier on where you do something similar, where you pull all the mirrors out one by one, and they just kind of they fall into the right spaces and cause the laser. And at first glance, it looks like this level is one of those. You just pull the things out in the right order and you get it. But you soon realise that's not the case at all. It seems to be going well, and then the last couple of mirrors screws you right up. So you have to really kind of think about how you rearrange them. And you don't have a lot of room because it's like one wide everywhere. So that bottom corner becomes quite important. Yeah, I remember that level. Okay, right, so we've got this in place now. So this is just resetting the state. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we can turn this state on and off. So, well, we just need to turn it on. So that's going to be done in the player control. So we have buttons here. And this is going to look for the button A. Okay, so let's now copy this block of code. Change this to be transition. Well, let's have a look. So we're not interested in player state here, because you can change the you can change the transition at any point, no matter what you're doing, whether you're falling, jumping, running. You can change the transition. That's kind of the point, is that you can quickly change it. But we do care what transition state is, and we need to make sure that this only happens if transition is off. So we just need to compare 8 to 0. If it is non-zero, then we do done transition, because we only want this to happen if you're not already transitioning. Then we're going to check the joystick. I believe it's going to be bit 1. I will double check that in a minute, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be bit 1. And that's pretty much it. So then all we need to do is just set the state. So which is going to be here. Oh, and I need to remember. Do you need to remember that technique? We saw A up here, but about that later. Will this have rewind? No, this is the original game, so this will just have the transition. Saying that, the Game Boy would be very, very good at the rewind stuff, which is a shame. But I really don't fancy trying to make Dock 2 on it. That would be quite the challenge indeed. Anyway, Hayes, you didn't answer. Are you gonna stream Wolf? Are you gonna stream the dev of that as you did with Mario, or are you gonna kind of wait a bit? Are you gonna stream it at all, or are you just gonna stream like the last little bits? Or you are cool. That'd be cool to see. Definitely cool to see. I mean, I didn't get much of a chance to watch you that often, because I've kind of been struggling with staying awake a lot of the time. Not because of your stream, just in general. So I generally drop in and then I'd end up falling asleep. So, or I'd already be asleep. So I missed quite a lot. Oh, I can't wait to get back to work and start doing things. Okay, so for now we're just going to go for the old transition, not on. Drop that in there. And that should be enough to get this. Oh no, it's not going to be enough to get this started. So let's create a new new file. I'm going to call it transition. If I can spell it right. And this file is also going to live in ROM 0. This is going to contain all the code we need to start the transition and run the transition and stuff like that. So we'll put start transition in here. We'll move this piece of code here. We call start transition, which will do this. It's also going to set which are the lines that we need to check on the screen. And then it's going to return. I'm really struggling with the movement. Didn't want to stream my face palms. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's tricky. I would suggest. I know I'm blowing my own horn here, but I would suggest looking at some of the streams where we talked about fractional movement. They'll probably come in really useful for you, because you kind of almost want sub-pixel movement, I think, with Wilf, or else it's going to feel either too quick or it's not going to feel quite right. So take a look at the fractional movement streams, and then you can kind of work out how to use that to do it up and down. Yeah, with the flying as well, exactly. Yeah, because then you can apply gravity as a fractional value. You can apply all your joystick movements as impulses with fractional values as well. So should make it a little bit easier for you, I think. And yeah, that's honestly, I think that's half of what people enjoy about coding streams. I mean, I've bashed my head against the wall so many times with stuff, but I think it's the I think that's what I enjoy about the stream, is having that support there to help me through it. And I'm sure, in fact, I know some people have said that it's kind of fun to watch, except these stupid Gameboy Z80 streams where I just swear at everything for 3 hours. That's why I've kind of gone for the palette stuff tonight, go for some low-hanging fruit. Okay, let's just make sure that all runs. It's probably not going to run because it doesn't know where start transition is, and that's because I haven't included it here. So I'm looking for two things here. So first of all, the game runs. That's great. I just want to make sure that pressing this button actually does something. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to see what it does without looking it up in here. Transition state C50D. Okay, so if I go to C50D in here, hopefully it's now set to a 1, or just non-zero basically is what I'm looking for. C50D, yeah, so that pressing that button did change the state. And then I also want to check VRAM just to make sure how to get these attributes properly. So if I remember rightly, I have to switch to a different bank, but then basically read these addresses. So the start address is going to be in the middle of this screen. So if we have a look at X is, sorry, Y is, wait, 11? That doesn't seem right. It's 18 high. I thought it was 20 high. Oh, it's 20 wide, 18 high. Okay. Why did I think it was 20 by 20? Okay, not to worry. It just means I need to work out where the start row is. And the start row, in that case, is going to be at row 8 Y. So it's this one. So it's 9D 100 and 9D 20. So in transition, so I'm going to load HL with 9D 100, and then why can't I just store that value directly? Can I do that? I don't think I can I? No, it's gonna complain that I'm trying to store a 16-bit value in an 8-bit location. All right, it's fine. I'll do this manually. So we'll do it little endian. So we'll do this with. So that's a 0. And we're going to store this at position top line 0. Hundred bits of ice sold it. Yeah, that's a good point actually. All of it balanced if I see 7B. Actually, that isn't going to be the same on that one, is it? It's going to be 20, so it's actually like that one. And then the bottom and top upper bytes are going to be the same, which is going to be 9D. Okay, so this sets our transition up. So update transition. So what I need update transition to do is whenever I call this, it needs to take the two current lines. It needs to switch the video bank to palette attribute mode. So it's basically changing color RAM, if you like. And switch the palettes for 20 characters on each of those lines. And then when it's done that, it needs to increment the bottom line by 32, decrement the top line by 32, and store these values back again if the transition isn't complete. If the transition is complete, then instead of storing them, it can just set the transition to off. So it's quite a lot to do, but we're going to do it in the H blank area. which we had set up in IRQ, I think. Interrupts, there we go. So I had this H blank area down here. It's actually, it says V blank interrupt, but I think it actually starts in a H blank area. I think I need to figure out if that's right. We also need to set some stuff up in here to work out if we're using we're not like wasting too much time to do it. So this is where we're gonna call this update transition from. Right now though, I'm gonna go take a quick toilet break and go and have a quick smoke. So I'll be back in 2-3 minutes, guys. Be right back. I bet. Just a reminder on the giveaway, guys, as well. So we'll be doing a giveaway middle of July. If anybody is a subscriber or a patron, you can chat in the subscriber requests channel in my Discord, which I'll post a link to now. If you want to kind of request a game for the giveaway or such, let me know in there and I'll do my best to get hold of them. I'd prefer C64 cartridges at the moment, just because that has the most use for the most people. Everybody can run a cartridge, not everybody can run a disc, not everybody can run a tape. So just pop in there, let me know what games you'd like to see giveaway, because I really am struggling for some ideas of what games people want. So preferably new release games as well, games you know that have been released by the new kind of publishers, and I'll see how many I can buy this month and get that sorted. Mario Cement Factory hasn't got a release yet. Give it a physical, get it on cartridge, and we'll give it away. It's a good point, Hayes. If you want, I can, because I've still got a cartridge for you, and I've got a C128 that I'm going to send to you at some point. If you want, I can stick Mario Cement Factory on the cartridge for you if you want. Then you've got a cart of it. All right. So update transition. So we'll call it from here and see what happens. We'll just copy one line over and over again, and we'll see if it causes any glitches. So okay. So to do this, we need to. First of all, we need to check if we're in the transition. So we're going to load the byte that is in transition state. Do transition. Any games after coding tonight? I don't know. If it is, it would probably be Last of Us, I guess. Could probably do an hour of Last of Us after the stream. Yeah, it would definitely be Last of Us. I'm not going to play anything else yet. Flashback is coming tomorrow, I believe. So I may do on Saturday. I may play Flashback after stream on the Jaguar, assuming I can get it working within like an hour. I'll make sure it's set up on the stream before I start this time. Okay, so do transition. On the computer tonight, you still have a load. Usually I don't. Okay, so the do transition. So we're going to need to copy. Well, first of all, we need to switch into the right mode to update this data. So I'm going to go and have a look at the map loader. Because in here somewhere we do the draw the 4 tiles. Switch to attribute map. Okay, so this is where we switch the video bank here. Switch to attribute map, and then I'm going to make sure we switch it back when we're complete. So this will go at the end here. Okay, so this middle bit here is what I need to actually update these values. So I need to draw 20 values across the screen. So I can use HL and I can use BC and I can use DE, or I can use HL and D and I'll use B and C as the counter flags. So let's start by set up the destination addresses. Maybe not with 3D, so. Right, why does that look wrong? One of these is right. Yeah, I do need to macro. I type it so often. What I'd like is pick assembler for Z80. It was right, wasn't it? Yeah. I don't know why that just looks wrong to me today. Too many duplicate letters in there. Fine. I don't think spelling in comments matters that much, really. Okay, so we're gonna load. We're gonna load HL with the value that is in. See, it's not going to allow us to load, so we're going to have to do this separately. Okay, so we need to load the low byte with transition top line plus 0, the high byte. So I will do the same with the destination as well. So this will be E, this will be D, and this will be bottom line instead. So that's our address is set up. Start the counter. So we're going to load B with the value. I'm guessing I can do it like that and just check if it's 0. So we're going to load it with 20 or 114 in hex. And we're going to have a loop here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to change the attributes for this. So I think what we need to do is we need to load a value from here, and then we need to turn off the palette bit or set it to whatever it should be. So let me find the palette information. Is it this one? No, that's video display, VRAM tile data. Here we go. VRAM background maps. There we go. Okay, so background palette number 0, bit 0 to 2. Now we're going to be setting it to palette 0. So all we should need to do is load the value from this location. So we should just be able to load the accumulator with the contents of HL. We'll increment HL while we're at it. Oh no, actually we don't increment it here. And then we're going to AND that value and the accumulator with 3, 4, 5, and leave the last 3 blank because these are the palette bits, and we want palette 0 here. So this will be different depending on whether or not we're doing an old transition or a new transition. So for now, this is just going to be the old transition, and we'll update this to do the rest at some point. Okay, so I don't need that now. It's kit closed source. Yeah, unfortunately, this isn't kit, but I think kit is closed. I'm sure you could use kit for this and the Mega. Yeah, I'm hoping I can use it on the Mega 65. I'll be really upset if I can't use it on the Mega 65. In fact, I'll probably end up trying to write my own kit-like assembler if that's the case. rather than I really don't like the task format or the Acme format, so I'll probably just switch to my own assembler in that case, which is good because it means I can add what I want in there, and I'd probably write it in a way that I can still use it to do C64 stuff as well. The PC emulator, yes, it is available now already here. So I need to do the same on this row here, which is DE. I basically need to do the same thing as this. Now, the only difference is I can't implement that here, so I have to implement it here instead. This is just kind of a quick way of incrementing this value here. Okay, that's all I need to do here, and then I need to decrease B. Then I think I have to actually load it into the accumulator and compare that with 0. If that's not 0, jump to the loop. And that should be enough to transition that one line. So let's give that a try. Let's close all of these. The heater open. Okay, so that's our jump. So that doesn't do anything. Okay. Okay. Well, let's test if it's actually doing anything at all. So let's see if we're even getting into it. We might not be getting into it properly. So quick way to do this would be to just put these lines in here. And turn off this bit here. That doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's doing anything. So let's revert that code and just go and have a look in the debugger to see what's going on. Oh, thank you for the follow, Alan Darity. I must have been outside smoking or something when you followed. Thank you very much. Also, Hayes, thank you for the bits. I didn't thank you for those. Thank you. It's because I don't get a chance to thank you because there's always about 10 minutes of text-to-speech directly after it, so by the time it's over, I've forgot what's going on. And yeah, please go in sub requests and add your games that you'd like to see. I'm thinking Sam's Journey is probably going to be in the first one because I don't think everybody has a copy of that, and I think because it's quite an expensive game. I think it's about £45-50 on cartridge, but it's probably the best cart game of the past 10 years. So maybe start with something super popular. Okay, I do like the Mario mode. Is that an Amiga tick on that Mario mode? Oh man, I'm not even going to grace that with a response. Okay, transition. Start transition 07FD. Okay, so let's go and stick a breakpoint in there and see what's going on. Okay, so 07FD. Really hate the debugger in this. I wish there was a good like C64 debugger style thing. 7FD. Oh, 4D. Okay. Explain why I'm not seeing any code there. What? Okay, I've not saved it, so that's one problem. Maybe I bet there's a bug. I really need to sort this build out because it's getting quite annoying when this happens. Transition line 8. Okay, so I failed right here. Thank you for the follow, Mab Twitch 15. Welcome to the stream. How is that an error? Wait, I can't. Oh, because that should not be 0. That should be A. Okay, let's clear that window. Give it another build. Then go back and see what's failed. Oh, lots of things. Okay, transition 27. Destination operand must be A. Okay, so I have to do this. Stupid language. I feel like this is wrong. There's got to be a better way of doing this. This doesn't feel right. I can't think of one offhand. Maybe I'm missing a 16-bit. Oh, it's a Pride Rainbow. Okay, it's really hard to tell actually on my screen. I need to change that itch.io link for the next stream. Oh, can you send me the why is that itch.io link wrong now? Let's have a look. It looks okay. Just let me know what you need it changing to, and I can sort that out for you. Yeah, it looks okay. New version. I think it just points to your normal page, doesn't it? Thanks for the follow, Welsh boy. Welcome to the stream, dude. I as far as I know, when you put the those itch.io links in, it always links to whatever your download is. It should be your latest link. So. Okay. It's Hayes Maker 64 instead of. Oh yeah, I see. It's redirected. Yep, no worries. I'll do that. In fact, let me bring that up in Streamlabs now. So before I forget, I'll forget otherwise. So. Meanwhile, let's see if that builds. That seemed to build. I don't think anything happened, but it definitely seemed to build. So let me just change this for Hayes. Think of it. Cloudbox commands custom. There we go. Should be fine now. Let's give that a try. There we go. Cool. A Spectrum owner, are you welcome here? Yeah, you're definitely welcome, but you probably won't see much Spectrum stuff, unfortunately. And I have to say, I think I'd much rather be coding Spectrum Z80 than this weird version of it. Okay, I think that code seemed to compile, which it looks like it did. Let's see if we can find the transition. Here is the transition. Update transition, do transition. So we're looking at 06B5, which is where we want to have a look. See if that's the same again. Yeah, 06B5. So let's go and have a look in the debugger. Oops. God. 06B5. Okay, so this is the update transition. So if I put a breakpoint in there, hopefully this will get hit every time I run, because it should be updating every frame, which it looks like it is. But obviously the value in C5OD is going to be 0 if I put the breakpoint here instead. you'll see that A is indeed 0. So I'm now going to put the breakpoint here, and hopefully it shouldn't run until I press this button, which means it's not actually transitioning. So let's go and have a look at C50D. I do apologise for the small size of this. Oh. Okay, so according to this, that value has been set, but for some reason... Oh my god. This debugger is so horribly horrible. So let's put the breakpoint here again and give it a run. See, we break there and it's got 01 in here. Do you know why? It's because I'm still treating it like a Commodore 64. I'm forgetting that I actually have to explicitly compare with 0. Stupid Game Boy. Well, this is just Z80, so it's not even Game Boy. Cool. Alright, so it's definitely setting the palette across there, which is exactly what we want. The palette is wrong. That's fine, I can go and fix that. So if I just open up this project, I did export a new palette, so if I just grab palettes from here, just put it in here instead. We should see it go Gameboy Colors in that center section. Okay, so there's a few issues with these around here. I will fix them in a minute because the new palette is actually replacing one of the blacks, and some of these are using the Gameboy palette where they should be using the grey-black palette instead. But that's easy enough to fix. But what I want to check is if I do this, I do indeed get the Gameboy palette across the middle, which is good. Cool, so let's go and fix that palette issue now. It should be easy enough to do. If I just load, where is it? This one here. Just make a change anywhere in the file, or just save it. Specky respec. Right, let's load project in, source. So I did already update all the stuff in here with the correct palettes. I just didn't export it. I didn't want to export the previous one because I'd messed around with all the palettes and the tiles. So, but I can export this one, that's fine. So save that there. Hopefully that's just directly overwritten my data. So I should just be able to run this again now. Yeah, it's BGB. Just because that's the one I was told to use. It seems to be the one that does the job for me. So, okay, I'm getting something's not right for some reason. Am I missing? Oh no, it's not loading something in. Let's have a look what's going on in here. I'm going to call this export old. And I'm just going to re-export from here again. Okay, it does export properly. Don't see where the sprites are in here. There's a sprites char there. Maybe it's those ones. Okay. But for some reason I don't see something kind of goes wrong for some reason. And then it's fine, but the fonts are all messed up down here. but that works. Okay. So these are messed up down here. And I don't know why it fails the first time. That's really odd. I think the font data down here is being written by something else. I think it's probably in here. I think we've probably got a color bank somewhere. No. Data. Sets. Here we go. Yeah, so it's these bits. Instead of 0, it shouldn't be using 0. It should be using palette 5, which is 0 index would be 4. So I need to change all the zeros here to 4s. Where's my replacement selection? Where's the replacement selection? Oh, do you know, I'll just do it manually, it's easier. There we go. Right, that should solve that weird HUD issue at the bottom. Which it does not. Why does it not? Okay, that's weird. Let's try it again, because for some reason I was getting a weird issue where it wasn't working the first time. So maybe it's the same, it's not working. I need to run it again to actually get it to work. No, it's simply not working. In fact, we've got like a weird mangled sprite down here as well. That's weird. But the guy is still moving, jumping if janky, and kind of collisions all off. But it's working. The Color Game Boy stuff is working across the middle. It didn't seem to cause any glitch as well when it did it, which is good news. However, why is this palette info not correct? When the palette here is definitely palette 4 is the one it should be showing down there. Let's go and have a look at the HUD routine. Maybe there's some something here. No, this looks like HUD attributes. Yeah, this should just be applying the right values around the bottom. Let me check that it's compiled correctly. Oh no. Okay. It's failed open HUD.nav. Okay, right. Well, let's move that because that's not part of the actual export. That's something that we copy as something else. So I'm going to change the lookup flag here to this. Boom. There we go. Right. Yeah, there we go. Cool. That seems to be working now, and I don't know where that sprite's gone, but yeah, there was something really odd going on. That seems to work now. Okay, cool. So I'm going to delete the other 2 folders so I don't accidentally commit these. I can always get that data back, should I? I need it. Hang on, this is all committed, isn't it? Yeah, okay. I was a bit worried then that I wasn't actually committing it anywhere. It wouldn't be the first game I've gone for like a week making before I've realised I've not even committed. I've not even made the repo for it yet. Okay, so with that address done, the next job is to change the next line. So what we have to do is when these values are done, we have to add some values to them. So we've already added 20 to each of these values here. We need to add an additional 12 to them. Now, I hate this. I absolutely hate the way addition works on this. Add 12 to bottom line address. And the top actually will be subtract. We've added 20. We need to go up 32. So we'll have to subtract 52 from the top line. So we'll do the bottom first. So the bottom is in DE. So we start by loading the low byte into the accumulator, and then add with carry. Look, we need to clear the carry flag here as well. Actually, does add without carry actually set the carry still? I think it does, doesn't it? So I think we can avoid clearing the carry flag there. Hey, old school coder, welcome to the stream, dude. It does. Okay, so I don't need to actually do this with. So this is one of the nice things actually with Z80s, that you can add without the carry. So we can actually add 12 to the accumulator, and then store that back in the E register. And now the carry flag will be set. So when we want to do the upper byte, we can just do this, and we've not had to clear the carry flag. So it doesn't matter what the carry flag was set to begin with. This will set it accordingly, so that's kind of nice. But still, it's still a lot of lines to do a 16-bit edition. I see it's about the same as C64, thinking about it. Thanks for the host, Sinlau. Welcome to the stream, dude. Will this port make it easy to port to other Z80 later? Yeah. No, probably not. I mean, it would simplify things, but most other Z80 systems don't have hardware sprites like this, so you'd still have to make your own kind of hardware sprite system first, and the screen layout's going to be different. And at least I don't think they had hardware. I know the Spectrum doesn't. I'm pretty sure the Amstrad doesn't either, but I might be wrong. I don't know enough about the Amstrad, other than it was probably the worst version of Turrican I've ever seen in my life. Okay, so now we're going to do the same with the HL register. So this is going to be L, and this is going to be H. But this time we're going to subtract. So at this point we need to use subtract here, 52, and then subtract with carry 0. And I think that's correct. I think that's how it will work. No sprite on the CPC or Spectrum. MSX did, but no hardware scroll. Yeah, the Commodore was like the perfect blend of all the best things of other machines, and done in a clever way as well. So the reason why we have the blocky graphics and the kind of the small palette in the C64 is because they wanted to try and be very, very efficient with the video RAM. No problem, Welsh boy. Thanks for joining the stream, dude. Hope to see you again soon. If you've not joined the Discord, do it, and you can kind of follow along when the other streams are. We do Commodore 64 on Thursday and Saturdays, Game Boy on Tuesdays. Yeah, so Commodore did a lot of the things they did to save on video RAM, and that allowed them to have a 64K machine, as well as the way that the ROM and the RAM switch out, to have a 64K machine that really truly did give you a large amount of memory to play with in comparison to other machines at the time. So they paid for memory saving by making things a bit blockier, by basically reducing the resolution and just stretching it. Okay, what just doesn't add the K? Okay, yeah, okay. So I think this is fine now. So the only other thing we need to do is make sure that when we've reached the end of the transition, we stop. So the easiest way to check that is to check if our value has gone outside the video RAM. So it doesn't matter, this is an old version. So if we look at the video RAM, this is where our screen is. The very last line is here at 9C100. So if this value, if the upper value of this top line drops below 9C, so if it becomes 9B, then we've reached the end. So we can do that here. We've already got the value in H here. And in the accumulator actually for this matter. So what we can do is we can compare the accumulator to 9B. And then jump if it's not the same. So jump from non-zero to not complete. Or I'll just call it skips, probably easier. Skip. Otherwise, what we can do here is we can just say that it's complete. So we will basically take our value in transition state and load transition off into it. So now this is probably going to be too quick, this transition. So it does need to be fast, but it needs to still be visible as well. In fact, it hasn't done anything. Oh, and that's because what I need to do, let's put an end here. What I need to do is I need to transfer those values back to here as well. So let's just copy this. For God's sake, anyway. So save the destination addresses. And so basically what I need to do is I need to take it like this. So I need to load the accumulator with L. Yeah, so I do it that way around. Okay, so oh my god, it's the autocomplete is, I mean, it's nice, but it's really intrusive. Okay, let's give it a go. Cool, there we go. We've got it switching into that. Actually, that wasn't too bad. That was kind of the right speed. Let's just do that again. Harvard scroll. I saw that. I knew what he meant, but it's a 16-bit add D12. Does that work with 16-bit? I hope that does work. If that works with 16-bit registers, then I'm going to be really pleased. To new experiences, I honestly don't know. I'm new to Game Boy Z80 and Z80 in general, so he meant hardware scroll haze. That's what he meant. GB Z80. If you can do it in Z80, then you can definitely do it in here. And maybe it's just me being stupid. It wouldn't surprise me. No, you can only do 8-bit. You can only do 8-bit. You can't do 16-bit. Oh no, hang on. 16-bit. You can add to HL. You can only add to HL. Okay. Okay, but that does simplify. That does simplify at least one line of it, right? So. So here where we're subtracting. Oh, can you subtract? That doesn't make any sense. So you can add, but you can't subtract. Okay. Yeah, it works 16-bit. You can add, but you can't subtract. There is no subtract HL R16. Wow. And in fact, you can only subtract the contents of another register from it. So it's completely useless, to be honest. So this is fine. It does the job anyway. Yeah, so at the moment it's changing the HUD color. We need to decide whether or not it should do that. Somebody brought up a good point, I think it was Andy, about the doors. So the doors are different colors, right? And the keys are different colors. So if you've got red green and blue keys and you transition the screen into Game Boy Color, what color should the keys be now? Because they're not going to match. So maybe changing the HUD is the right thing to do. And it should probably look like it's going back to original Game Boy. So I think it's probably all right for now. We can make some decisions at a later date if it doesn't work. But I think that looks kind of cool. The sprites don't change, so we're going to have to make sure that the sprites change as well. That's fairly easy to do. That just means we need to have, same as we do with the font, we just have a palette for these sprites as well. I think if the HUD stayed colourful, it would look a bit jarring, and it would probably get confusing when you came across a red door and you didn't know which of these keys. Because I mean, well, you wouldn't see that the door was red. You would see that it's some shade. Well, it'd be like this. It would be like a light green. No, you can't tell the difference between the key colors, but that just comes down to us designing the key fonts properly, the key palettes correctly. That's because in the palette, what I've done is, so this one here, I believe, this one here, and this one here are the palettes that are used for the keys. It would just be a matter of changing the colors to be staggered through these three, which would be an easy change, but I will have to go through. But for now, it's fine. Well, yeah, use shapes and patterns. That's not a bad idea, actually. That's not a bad idea. Use tetrominos. Yeah, so you could have a key. So they would be red, green, and blue, but on the screen it would maybe be like triangle, square, and circle tops on them. And then in the door there would be square patterns, circle. That's not a bad idea. I like that. And that way we wouldn't have to change the palette as well. So it wouldn't matter that the keys are all the same color here. They would have new shapes instead, which would be kind of cool. Okay, cool. I like that. Well, let's go with that. But I think that works quite well. I think the transition is probably about the right speed. I think if it was any slower, it would be too slow. But let me try it out. Maybe we need to draw attention to it a little bit more than we are doing currently. So just keep the transition there, keep it in there. Sorry, get rid of what's the main. That's what I want. Okay. So I do have a timer in here somewhere. Frame timer. Here we go. So transition, if we just check this every other frame instead. I'm not picking that up. It's on the next freaking line, for God's sake. So this should happen at half the speed now. Oh, actually, yeah. Actually, it does look a bit better. I'm quite pleased, actually, that the palette works across stuff as well. The Game Boy Palette was really well thought out, actually, because even when stuff is, the highs and lows are mixed up, it still looks kind of okay. Okay, cool. Right. I mean, obviously we need to do the sprites. That's another time. What we're going to try and do now is do the next transition. So when you press the button again, it should transition into the old state, back to the new state. So let's make another value in here, call it transition current. And this is going to contain whichever one of these is the correct active one. So it's going to start with transition. It's going to start with new, basically. And that's going to be in here. So And this is just so it knows which transition to start. So that when you start the transition in here, instead of just loading old into the value, it's now going to actually look up what the transition current is, and it's going to change it. So first of all, we load transition current, and if we do, can we do exclusive OR? Thank God for that, right? If we do exclusive OR with transition old plus transition new, that will flip that transition to the new state. Of course, it's actually called XOR in here and not EOR, which is good because that's what it should be. Don't know why it's EOR in 6502, it just is. And that means we've already filled this, we don't need to do that. So this should still just work now. Although one thing we do need to do is, before we can't start a transition. Actually, I think we do that checking here. Yeah, we can't do a transition if we're already transitioning. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so this should just work the same. No difference at the moment. I just want to make sure it's working, which it is. This is good. So now we need to actually do the funky stuff. So the problem is here is we've now destroyed the palette information that is in the screen, and that palette information comes from our meta tile data. So let me show you this. So these are our tiles. This is what's stored in video RAM, and even though you know, I've got tiles like this that generally should be using these palettes, I don't know why they've got different palettes. There's a bit of a bug in the way they're shown here, but the palettes don't matter in this bit. You can set the palettes of each individual tile in a meta tile. So a meta tile is just a made-up thing that we're using to group. It's what you would call a tile in a C64. These would be characters on a C64. These would be the tiles. They're called tiles on the Game Boy, so I call the bigger ones meta tiles. A meta tile is just a block of 2x2 smaller tiles, and you can individually color each of these with different palettes. So I can change this one to just have blue in this top corner, or this color in the corner, and that allows me to do things like this, where I can have one brick that's, you know, like a blue color, one brick that's a red color, without having to create additional characters in here. But what that means is the color information is stored in the meta tiles. It's not stored in the actual stored in the tile data. So what we're going to have to do is, when we actually draw the screen, we're already making a copy of the data here into what's called the shadow map. I'm going to also make a shadow attribute map, where I'm going to store basically the exactly the same data, exactly the same loop as we see here, but it's going to be using the other video bank. So where we're doing this here and this here, I am going to put this into here. And then I'm going to copy this, put it just before it. We'll do the attribute copy here as well. So the attribute copy is basically going to be exactly the same, but with the bank switch to this, and with shadow attribute map being our target. And we'll change this to shadow loop 2 here. So which means we need shadow attribute map, which I need to put up here. And this just gives us a copy of all the screen attributes when the map is drawn. The map will always be drawn in the new style, so that we get the correct attributes. And then if it needs to be transitioned, we can do that at the end here. So if you're in the old style and you switch into a new screen, this will draw the map. The screen is blanked out at this point, so you won't see it being drawn. This will draw the map in the new style, record all the information about it, and then at the very end of this, we can say, okay, we're in old style, so do the full transition which will basically be just running this update transition file, but we'll probably call somewhere directly in the middle here and just well, in fact, we probably just do it manually with another loop in here. It's fine. How am I going to remove certain tiles on the transition? So at the moment we're just changing the attributes, but what we will be doing eventually is, well, actually it will still just be attributes. So the cool thing about the Game Boy is the Game Boy Color is the way that the tile sets work. So you actually have on the Game Boy you have one tile set. So you have this tile set here. It's in one palette, this palette here, and that's how the Game Boy works. You just have 256 tiles, which you can use. On the Game Boy Color, however, you have two tile sets. You have one tile set here and one tile set here, and they are in memory. Let me show you where that is. Here, okay. So you've got all this is your video RAM, right? This is just your tile RAM. It's shared between sprites, which you can see up here, and tiles, which are weirdly split like this. So the first half of the tiles is actually in the second half, and the second half is before that. Sprites can actually share this bit as well, but we've got enough sprites here to do everything that we need. This is what's in the original Game Boy. This left half of the screen is what's in the original Game Boy. The Game Boy Color introduces this whole extra block over here. And to access this extra block, you change the bank. So you can see the tile address here. It's probably really hard to see. But when I'm on this side, this top corner is 8,000. And this is also at 8,000. But there's a little 0 before it and a 1 before it here. And this means video RAM bank 0 and video RAM bank 1. So what you do is in the palette attributes, so this is our map here, and you can see the attributes over this side, and you can see they have a tile address here. So every time you drop a tile in, you basically just put a number from 0 to 255 in, like you would do in Commodore 64 RAM. But the color RAM, which is it's more called the video RAM attribute RAM, or the attribute RAM. It is kind of like color RAM in that you set bits in there and they change the attributes of these tiles. So one of the things you can set the attributes of is the palette, and that's what the lower 3 bits do. You can also set whether the character is flipped left and right. So there's another 2 bits for that. And there's a single bit which controls which video RAM bank they come from. So all we have to do is when we do this and we set the palettes, we can also switch to the other bank as well. So we don't actually have to rewrite anything. So then all we would do is in our video RAM, in here, we would have duplicate of this tile set with certain things changed. So for instance, these flames will be gone. The waterfalls will be gone. The ladders will only exist on the right hand side and not on the left hand side, and so on and so on and so on. So it's very easy for us to create 2 different scenes. We will have a collision lookup table, which will be different for each side. So when you collide with something, it will go and look up in a different collision table whether or not you're in the old or the new state. But generally, it should be quite easy to turn things on and off. So good night, Sinlo. But yeah, you can change quite a lot. So I can show you what you can change. So you can change the palette, obviously. So going in here and changing it to this palette will change the color like so. You can also flip things around. So I've got these things here, and these are built from where's the shape? This shape here. But the other side is built from the same shape, but it's just flipped. So that's kind of cool. You can save some character on by actually just using a flip value. So that's 5 bits for that, I think. For 3 for the color, 2 for the flips, 6 for which tile bank they come from. And there's 2 other things which I cannot remember for the life of me what they are. So let's go and have a quick look now. One is unused, and one is whether or not the sprites appear behind or in front. So yeah, the other cool thing is you can set individual characters to appear behind sprites or in front of sprites. So for instance, we could have grass on the floor here, which appears in front of the sprite, but the sprite would walk behind the grass, but in front of everything else. So that's kind of nice. It's nice to do it that way. I'm surprised Commodore didn't go that way, because I think the way they've done it is a little odd, to say the least. But it works, so it's fine. All right, I'm just going to check that this is running. I think it is, because I think that was running from it. And then if it is, I'm just going to go for a quick break. Sure that there is an error at transition 53. Okay. And then when I come back, we'll get the transition working back the other way, hopefully. Okay, yeah, that's working. Transition works fine. Cool. All right, I'll be back in 2 or 3 minutes, guys, and we'll... how long have we got? We've got about another hour left, so what I'll do is I'll probably get the transition working the other way, and then I'll switch over to Last of Us 2 for an hour or so. I don't want to spend too long on it. I've got work. So, all right, back in 5 minutes, guys. And I'm back. I brought an extra mojito in case this one runs out, which I think it will. Okay, so pressing this does nothing, because it's just going to keep doing the same transition over and over again. So we need to alter this now to use this new routine if it's in the other transition. So what we need to do then in that case is change this bit here. So this is how the lines will change if it's a standard transition. So let's call this let's transition to old. Let's call this let's call it next line. And just have jump relative next line here. And this will be our transition to new. Jump it here. So transition to new is going to work almost the same, but this value needs to be grabbed from in here, which means we're going to have to do some funky stuff to get this to work, which we probably don't have enough registers for, so I'm going to have to figure out how to do this in a slightly different way probably, but that's fine, that's fine. So the first thing to do is we need to check which transition we're in. So we can load transition current, because that's been changed to the correct one. Here. And we're going to compare this to trans new, jump if non-zero. Oh god. In other words, if it is equal to that, we'll jump to transition to new. Now, let's copy this and let's have a look if we can break this down into something a bit simpler. Well, it's not simpler, but something that works for the new transition. So at the moment, this is just clearing the palette. It's these 3 bits that we need to change. We don't actually need to do an AND, we just need to grab the original value from here. Yeah, you can only add another register pair to H. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of pointless really, isn't it? So so I think what we need to do is we actually need to use the BC counter here and do this differently instead. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to use a temporary counter value for this. So I'm going to move this now into, I'm going to call it transition temp. And this is just going to, for God's sake. This is just going to be an area in RAM that we use for use for this counter, and that's it. So we need to change that counter here as well. So we need to Can we decrease a value directly in memory? I bet we can't. I bet we need to load it, because Game Boy Z80 and stupid things. Good night, Jamie. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so we've got decrease a 16-bit register. We've got decrease what's being pointed to by HL, but that's no good, or decrease the register rate. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load the accumulator with the value that's in transition temp. Then I'm going to decrease it. And then I'm going to put it back into that. Yep, okay. Oh, actually, this... No. I'm doing this wrong, aren't I? I'm doing this completely wrong. Let me revert that. This is actually a lot easier than I thought. No. I'll keep it like that because we've already set these variables up, but we basically need to do one line at a time instead of 2 lines at the same time. We'll do 1 line, and then we'll change the value in BC and then do the other line. So we need to do this loop twice, and we'll need to set BC up both times. Yeah, this should work, theoretically. Which means I don't need to do that. Change this to loop 2, like so. And get rid of that because we'll work this out. So start the counter, yep. Top line first. So we'll just do the very top line. So our top line is HL, so we'll do that one first. Which means we won't do this one yet. We'll do that. We'll repeat this again for DE, but for now we'll just use HL here. So what we do need to first of all set up is BC. We need the value in BC, and that value is going to be no, this is going to be tricky. I am going to suggest that the way we do this is we take the value that's in HL. So I'm going to load a... actually, is this going to be spaced out correctly? I'm wondering if this is going to actually work. 6256. 128. Yes, so this is actually... which this is also aligned. So actually we can take the value that's in L and we can load that into C. That's fine. Top line first. Set the shadow look. So we know that the lower byte of the shadow attribute map and the screen location that we're writing to is going to be the same. However, the upper byte is not going to be the same. So what we need to do is we need to take the upper byte, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract the top of the screen from it, which is going to be 9C, I think it was. I can't remember. Yeah, 9C. So we're going to subtract 9C from it. So now the accumulator contains a value from 0 to like 8 or something like that. And then we're going to add the upper byte of the location here. So we're going to add to the accumulator, and this is going to be shadow attribute map shifted 8 across. And that's going to give us the location, the top location of this, which should give us the proper offset now in if we put that into B, should give us the proper offset for the shadow attributes for this particular line. So if I then change this here, what I should be able to do is load accumulator. Okay, I don't need to do that, but I do need to do that. Store it like that. And then I just need to increment BC. So I think that will work. This is only going to do one line, but we should be able to see the transition kind of working backwards from in the top half anyway. Transition 81 is wrong. Oh, because that needs to be the value in transition temp. Okay, so interesting. We can see any transition happen there. Oh, janky. Okay, right. Let's make sure we're not broken anything first. So let's start by getting rid of this this check here. Make sure the original transition. Oh, that's weird. Whoa. Okay. So all I've done is added this shadow attribute map and a little bit of extra checking around things. Let me just comment this new stuff out. Okay. Cheers, thank you very much, Musi Space. Thank you for the sub. Oh, and thank you for the emote as well. What have I got there? Yay, some pride emote. Thank you very much, dude. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the subs. Just a reminder again, I know I keep going on about this, but if you are a sub, you can access the subscriber request channel in my Discord. We will be doing a giveaway in 2 weeks' time. Most likely going to be Commodore 64 games on cartridge. Thinking Sam's Journey, but I'm not sure yet. Or it might be more than Sam's Journey. It's probably going to be about £100 worth of cartridges, I think. I'll give them away on stream in 2 weeks. If you've got any requests for games you would like to see in the giveaway, drop me a note in subscriber requests, and I'll add them to the giveaway pile. You don't have to be a sub to enter the giveaway. You don't have to be a patron to enter the giveaway, but you do have to follow, and you probably will need some channel points, so you do need to have watched at least a little bit. Otherwise you could just join for 5 minutes at midnight and walk away with the prize, so that wouldn't be fair on the regulars. So okay, so for some reason adding this in here causes those weird issues. So let's just uncomment that. Let's just put it back in, see what happens. Because no part of this should ever reach this piece of code here. But for some reason, it seems to fail. Jump to next line. Okay. Okay, well this is adding to the top and the bottom, but this is adding to HL and DE, which is correct. That's exactly what we want. BC we don't care about because that's going to be calculated at runtime like this. The function is going to come into here, it's going to run this loop, and then it's going to jump straight to next line. So it really shouldn't run any of that at all. But for some reason it seems to blank out my yeah, I'm getting no errors. Branch distance limit, yeah, I was thinking maybe that, but it's not. It would give me an error if that was the case. I mean, I can change it to a JP. That should get rid of the branch distance limit. I think you're right, I think it was that, so I'm not sure why. Yeah, I need to work out what the exact points is going to be for winning the prizes. I don't know. I need to work out how many points per hour viewers get, because I would at least like it to be 2 hours worth of points, or 3 hours worth of points maybe. However long from the beginning of the stream to the giveaway, you need to basically be watching for that entire time, ideally. So but we'll figure it out. You're welcome. Loving the stream. Cool. I'm glad you do. I'm glad you do. I hope you're interested in Commodore 64 as well, because that's mostly what we do. You spent your points on SID choice. Yeah, I think what I might do is lower the SID point choice right down. I'm going to make sure that if you join the stream at the beginning, say before 10 o'clock, if you just save your points from 10 o'clock to midnight, if you have 0 points and you save your points from 10 o'clock to midnight, that you'll have enough to enter. That's what I want to work out, what that value is. Then that way it's kind of fair on those people who have been spending and gambling their points. But it does mean that you have to have kind of been there for an hour or two as well. Maybe about 2,000. Yeah, I think it's probably going to be something like that. I'll work it out at some point. I think I do have control over how many that is. Oh, the gamble points are different. Oh, are they? They're not the same, are they? Oh yeah, they're not, are they? Channel points and yeah, that's right. Shimmer shillings are different. Okay. So it is just the channel points. Okay. So yeah, if you are interested in the giveaway, save your points now. I may reduce the price of the stream, the SID requests. We'll see how it goes anyway. I'm hoping it will kind of encourage people to kind of stick around a little bit more and get a bit more involved and that, and it gives me a way of giving you guys something back, because as I say, that I do earn a little bit from Patreon every month, and I'm not that bothered by the money that comes from it. I don't want to. I don't need the money, so I'd like to give it back to you guys, and it gives you guys something to kind of exciting to look forward to on the stream, for the my swearing or getting completely pissed. Okay, so it definitely works one way. It's not going to work the other way because I've turned it off, but works that way perfectly fine. Okay, so let's turn the transition back on here. See if that works. Sky have never said that, and their content is up us here. The thing is I don't do this for the money at all. I don't. The money is not important. I don't make Commodore games for the money. I don't make Game Boy games for the money. I don't do Twitch for the money. I don't do Patreon for the money. Patreon, I mean, you don't do a Patreon without thinking about the money. And I did think about the money at first, but I've slowly realized that I only really wanted to do that as a way to reward people for supporting me. And now they're supporting me and I'm not giving anything back. So this is my way of doing that. I just do it for the wine, yeah. I do it for the bits. That's what I do it for, because the bits are what pay for the wine. Or in this case, the mojitos. These aren't bad, actually. I mean, they don't taste like mojito, but they're not bad. Let's see if that works, just enabling that. I don't think it's going to, though. I think it's going to... Yeah, see, it's failing here now. In fact, it's going weird. So let's start by figuring out what's going on here. So is just reversing that going to make the right transition happen first? Probably is, isn't it? Yeah, okay. And then the second transition goes completely wrong. See, it's trying, it's putting some of the colours back, but then it's kind of missing bits as well. And this kind of looks like it's running into the blanking issues, but it really shouldn't be. So what happens if I press it once more? So let's try again. So transition, weird transition, and then it goes broken here. Okay. Okay, let's start by getting this one line correct. Okay, so I'm expecting BC here to have the correct address in it. Is this not working properly? Transition temp, reload a value in, increase it, reload it back into here, compare, jump back. I is increasing, BC is increasing. That's fine. Everything should be good here. HL is the one that moves up the screen. So actually the transition's going the wrong way for this second half. Okay, let's load it up again, and this time let's put some debug breakpoints in. So let's have a look at the transition. So transition to new 05B3. Okay, so let's go and stick some breakpoints in there. So 05B3, which is here. So if I run, no breakpoint. If I do a transition, I pressed it too quickly, but this is the second transition there. This is our transition to new, which is here. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to try and set BC up. So let me step through that. Let me find what the step button is. F3. Okay. So this is doing the subtraction, adding the new value in, and storing it back. So BC should now points to C600. So C600 should be where our shadow attribute RAM is, which it is. C500 it starts at, C600 is the location on screen where we would expect that to be. So I'm gonna start again, and hopefully it will break on the next line. But you can see now it's actually done way more than one line. It's done one line perfectly, and then these lines it's gone on a mission with, and it shouldn't have done that. And I think that's because our counter is not working properly. So I need to check whether this transition counter here is working correct, and I don't think it is. So let's give that another run. Let's go and check the same spot again. I've forgot the bloody address now. 05 was new. 05B3. Okay. So go to 05B3, which is here. Find where our loop is happening. So it looks like this is where we're grabbing that value, and then we're doing the comparison. So let's check this. Every time this happens, let's check this. So come in here, first transition, fine. It's a bit of a jitter on that transition. I'm not sure what that is. I think there's a little bit of slowdown now and again, but okay, that's fine. And then we come to here. Okay, so the accumulator for some reason has DC in it, and that is wrong. Let's go and have a look at the value in. Oh, wait a minute. AC. Oh no, should be fine there. Okay. Let's go and have a look at C813. This is where it's storing that value. C813 should be our transition temp, which it is. Oops. Let's look at it in here. C813. Yeah, for some reason that value is DC. It is not the 1.4 I want it to be. Interesting. Oh, I know what. It's because I'm not actually storing the value. I am reading it. So okay, that should solve that, I think. This is why debuggers are good. They make it easy to spot these problems. And there we go. Top line is being redrawn again perfectly. Now we just need to do the same on the bottom line, and we can see that the transition will work between the two. So let's sort the bottom line half of this out. So the bottom line is basically going to be the same as this again, but with a different shadow lookup. So we're going to copy this block here. Just going to put it here. Say bottom line. So we do the same again. We take the value that's in. Oh, we need to do something a little bit before we do this. So we need to actually reduce this number in here by 20 again. So we need to reset HL. So the way we're going to do that is really simple. This is actually screen RAM, so we don't actually need to. I'll show you if I go into VRAM viewer and look at the background map. None of these characters, if I subtract 20 from these positions, which is where it's pointing at, it's not going to go off the screen. Basically, it's not going to cause a carry. So we can just subtract from the L, and that should be fine. So we load A with L, we subtract 20 from L, and then load that back in again. So that's going to reset the HL. So that's going to reset our little line counter, which I've just realized we don't need because we're using DE, so we don't even need to do that. It's already set up in DE. So this is E, this is D. Let's go and set these first. I get there in the end. It just takes me a little while, that's all. So HL should be DE. We do need to increment DE because we haven't got that other increment. Okay, that's fine. So we need to take the value that's in DE. We need to do the same again. Subtract 9C, add the shadow map on. That gives it our new shadow map location for this next line. And then we basically do the same thing again, but this time using D instead of HL. So this should just work now. Destination source, yeah, and the way it works is if you put for some reason I think we get some weird. I think we need to reset the shadow RAM because occasionally it does this and draws something weird up at the top, but or in other random places. Okay, the bottom line didn't seem to be working there, so I think we might have a bug in the code. Yeah, loop 2 already defined. Okay, so let's call this loop 3. Yeah, so Z80 is backwards, but you also have these square brackets as well. So if you put square brackets around an address, it means take the value that's at that address. So this is like your absolute mode. If you don't put the brackets around, it's immediate mode. So this is actually, well, in fact, that's invalid. But if I was to do, so here we're just loading the number 14 into the accumulator. But if I do that, I'm loading the contents of memory address 14. So this is the immediate and absolute dresser modes, which is also confusing, but you kind of get used to it. But yeah, it is backwards. But I think that's also the same in most other languages with similar kind of syntax. This, so 68,000 and x86. Again, I might be wrong. It's been a long time since I did x86, so, and I've never done 68,000, so I couldn't tell you at all on that. Okay, this hopefully is just going to work now. It seems like when things go wrong, we just get weird sprites on the screen, so at least we've got one way of working it out. Okay, there's a little bit of a delay now and again, but I think that might just be to do with the scaling and stuff, so. I don't know, sometimes, look, that character's not. I think it's running out of time sometimes to do this. I think it's running out of time. Which means we are very close to filling up the V blank. So I'm going to move this into a H blank routine. So yeah, I honestly I just prefer the more kind of the simplified way that 6502 handles its instructions. Because essentially they're both doing the same thing, right? They're loading things from memory addresses into registers, transferring things between registers, adding things to registers, and putting them back in memory addresses. But the way they both handle it, 6502 has such a small command set compared to
compared to Z80. It's just not funny. And I feel like you can do a lot more as well. So I can increment a memory address directly. So I can increment the contents of a memory address. I can't do that on the Z80. I have to actually load the memory address into a register and then increment it indirectly that way. I can't load a memory address directly into like the B register. I have to actually load that from the accumulator. It's just really weird. I'm not that keen on it. Okay, so I think what we're seeing here is a problem with the timings of this. So I think we're reaching a point where actually it's not fitting into the time we have to do this. So the solution to this, well, there's two solutions we can do here. One, we can alternate the lines, which actually might work quite well. I'm going to try that first, which is where we do, depending on whether it's an odd number or an even number in the timer, we do top line or a bottom line. Or we can move it into the H plane. Yeah, it's an architecture limitation. And not the ASM syntax fault, but I think as well I think the syntax is it's so much easier, I think, to do things in 6502 than it is to do it in Z80. Z80 feels like you're having to do a lot of stuff to do the same things, which again is an architectural limitation, but in terms of the language as well. So I mean, using load all the time and not having a separate load and a store just feels weird. The order of these things before and after the destination sourcing, it just feels really weird. I get that it is the more common language, the more common syntax, but yeah. But again, it's all the syntax comes from the architecture, right? Because this all comes about because the instructions are exactly this. It is transfer from here to here, transfer from here, jump to here if this, and so on. So these controllers on there, I'm going to put that in next. I just prefer that. Okay, so do we have a H blank set up? I think we do have a H blank set up. CD stat interrupt board chart, anim shadow copy, and then the V blank interrupt. So let me try moving this into the into here and see if that makes a difference. I think it might do, because now it's going to just be running in the H blank stuff. So I would hope that that's going to be better. Although that seemed to have a bit slowed down now. But yeah, we're not getting that glitch anymore. I think it's got a bit of slowdown now. I'd like to know if there's a way in this debugger to see where things are actually happening on. Can I do it in the VRAM view, mate? I bet we can't actually. No, it's not going to be VRAM, is it? It's going to be where it would be. Choose searcher, debugger system info. No, it's just going to tell me whether it's. Because I feel like this has gone a bit slower now. Which, don't get me wrong, I don't mind, because I actually had to slow down the animations and stuff, so... Do you know what? I'm not going to argue with it. I think that's fine, and if I have to slow down the animations a bit, I can live with that. If I have to speed them up, I should say. But there we go. I think that is the transition I'm after. I mean, obviously it is different to the original, different to the original game, but I think it's fine for what I want. Let's just try. I want to see if I can figure out how long that's actually taking, because if I look at the speed that's walking there, and then I just get rid of the transition check at all. Although, I don't think it has slowed down actually, because the transition will only do stuff if it has actually... I know it has, that. That's definitely slowed down. So why does that slow it down? Transition comes in here, and only if the timer is active and the transition state is active does it do anything. Wait for multiple V blanks. So this is the LCD stat interrupt. So this one should be happening. This one should be happening basically at this position here, where the hood, the first line of the hood ends, and just running in the horizontal blank here. So it probably encroaches on the vertical blank, but I wouldn't have thought this actually did anything most of the time. So if I just put a return here, so it doesn't do the transition at all, I would expect this to run pretty quickly. In fact, let's not even do that. Let's put it here, so it doesn't even check the timer. It just calls this routine. Oh, weird. It actually stops the... What? Let's turn that off. Some crazy shit going on here. Oh yeah, you could also use a Retzi. That's a good point. But even just calling that function there causes an issue. Why does calling this cause an issue? So we would do return 10. I mean, like that. And then... oh, hang on. Transition state. Okay, so if the transition state is 0, then don't do anything. Okay. That could have been what was causing the glitch, actually. No, it's definitely slower. It's definitely slower. Just loading the video bank. No, it's only if you want to. It's only if you want to write or read to that read from that it matters. You can set it to what you want, and it will still draw the screen to the correct location. But look, even if I just put a return in here, so all it's doing is calling this function and then returning, right? So this is essentially doing nothing. It causes issues. Look, his frames are stopping when he walks that way. It's definitely loading correctly. And I'm doing nothing. I'm literally just returning from that function. If I move this, if I get rid of that, let me just comment it out. Now he walks both ways. The animation runs. In fact, he walks slightly quicker to the left than he does to the right, which is a bit weird. Banking issue, sprite flipping. Yeah, I'm not sure. We need to do some tests because there's some really odd stuff going on here. Like, I'm not doing anything now, right? And it feels like he walks a lot quicker that way than he does that way. So that's one thing to definitely look at. Then the other thing is if I call anything other than the chart anim shadow copy. So if I get rid of that, what will happen? I think that will stop the animations. Oh, okay. I don't know why we've got a big fat dude up there, but it's gone really slow now. But saying that, it's gone slow, but it feels consistent. So I wonder if this LCD stat interrupt is set up incorrectly. Something weird is going on here. So if I just put this in, so this is what tells us how long something takes to run, just by shifting the screen a little bit. Okay, so I can see that the screen is being shifted down here and nowhere else. So that's... In fact, this is... What is going on? And look, it's... The animations are not always running. Hang on. Detransition. So we switch the attribute map. And we definitely switch back to it when we're finished. So I don't think it's anything to do with that bank. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe it's something to do with it exceeding the bottom of the screen. So let's just try moving it up a little bit. So this is the interrupts in question. So let's just move it to the middle of the screen and see what happens. Maybe we're just hitting the limits of processing time. I think it is that, because if you look now, right, this is where it's being shifted. And I think it must have just been encroaching on it ever so slightly. So let me put the update transition in there as well. And that must have just been enough to tip it over the edge, I guess. So it's using, you can see the extra bits that it's using here by how much it shifts this over. I think we might need to move some stuff into VBlank, including Is it just this? Is it just this that's taken too long? Let me put the update back down here again. Let's see what's going on. So this is where I originally had it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these, but I'm going to put them into the VBlank interrupt instead. In fact, I've got one there, but I'm going to use 7 instead because I like that value. It's kind of nice and easy to see. and I'm just going to put this one back here, and hopefully we should see how much further past the V blank our transition goes to. Okay, so we've not seen any shifting at the moment, and you can see a tiny little bit at the top as I shift sometimes. So when I shift back, it breaks. Okay, so we probably do have just enough time to do it, but you can see it kind of breaks and it causes that glitch here because it's encroaching in this area up here. So the OAM copy we definitely need. This is the palette switcher for the bricks. This is what copies the sprites. This is probably why we're seeing errors with the sprites. If this doesn't work, then we'll probably get frozen sprite. Okay, so I've had 3 already. Okay, so I think this is probably what the next stream is going to be. It's going to be starting to pick this apart a little bit and see where we can speed things up. I don't think we can do very much with the OAM copy, unfortunately. I mean, it's a routine we can't really do anything with. We just have to leave it and let it do its business. Although, do we need to actually waste any microseconds here? What happens if I turn that off? I mean, because as long as I'm doing something straight after it that's not affecting the sprites, I would assume that that's all right. I might be wrong though. Might just... Oh wow, okay. Oh, look at the water. Okay, yeah, then I definitely need that. Okay, so we definitely need that in the OEM copy. I don't think there's a way around that. What about if I reduce the amount of time that takes? Yeah, the transition doesn't work when I do that. So obviously I need to wait long enough for the transition to actually begin to work properly. So I wonder if I can, how far can I reduce that value? It's 40, I mean, I can't even remember where I got that from. Yeah, see, I can't actually change at all. I'm not getting that glitch on that side though. That's interesting. Okay, so the other thing we've got, and this is a Game Boy Color game, so I think we should probably do this now, is 2 megahertz mode. So let's work out how to turn that on. Game Boy Color enable turbo mode, because that'll sort things out once and for all. Good night, old school coder. Okay, it's not that one. This will definitely solve all our issues. Turbo, no. 2 megahertz, no. Cartridge header. It's not that one. I think there's like an IO area that does this. I seem to vaguely remember seeing it in the IO area somewhere. So let's go and have a look up in this area. Okay, so it's none of those. It's none of those. There's the palettes, video RAM bank, DMA transfers. Okay, it's not there. This might be one for the next stream. We're getting towards the end of the stream anyway. I will play, as I said, I will play a little bit of Last of Us 2 after the stream, assuming I can get it working straight away. If it takes me more than 5 minutes to set it up, then I'm not going to bother. But hopefully it won't. Speed function, no. Okay, there's 46 instances of the word speed on this page, that's good. Clock speed. Okay. How do I set speed mode? Clock speed, serial, oh no, that's serial transfer mode. Don't care about the link cable. Don't care about that. This register is used to prepare the Game Boy to switch between. Okay, current speed, prepare. Okay, so switch between double speed mode and normal speed. That's speed is performed by executing a stop. Okay, not sure how that works. Double speed mode, the following will operate twice as fast as normal. Yes. Oh, okay. Bit 0 will be cleared. So FF4D, yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. Just trying to work out exactly what I need to do. It looks like I need to just set bit 0 to 1. And I also need to set these values. I don't know why I need to set these values. FFF and FF00. Okay, so let's have a look in the hardware in here. So I do have a hardware include, which might give me a bit more information. So it's telling me that I need to prepare it with these values here. Now I don't know why I have to check. Set that value, doesn't make any sense. And what was the other one? FFF, like all the Fs. Interrupt enable. Okay, so I think I need to disable interrupts. Okay, right. Well, let's try it. Let's. This is the code that it's giving me here. And what to set these things to, and what I need to do to finish it. So let's give this a try. Let's see if we can first of all see in here if we have that set. I don't think we can actually. Maybe it says in the debugger. No. System cart info, system info. Yeah, it doesn't tell me anything on there. Okay. Oh yeah, it's a good point actually. Let's try that. Let's just go into the monitor and set it. Although it says I have to do a stop, so hang on. First of all, let me just try it in main. So let me try it here. The very first thing I'm going to do at this location is these things that it tells me to do, which was, what's it again? Let's just copy that, paste it in here. Right. So I need to set that to 0. So whatever FF0 is, I think it was like that one, yeah. don't know what that one is, so I'm just gonna put this in manually because I have no idea what that is. And that needs to be 30. And then I can load 01 into FF4D. And then I need to do a stop. I don't know what the stop is going to do. I'm not entirely sure what this command actually does. Well, let's give it a try. It's either going to fail or it's going to work, right? Well, it didn't seem to be problematic, but I can go and have a look at this because it says bit 7 will tell me what the current speed is. So this seems to be all right. I don't see any issues with it. Oh, I think that's actually worked because it looks like we've just got more time in the borders. That's what it is. Because we're still doing frame-based update. I think that's worked. We're getting some jitter in the transition. I'm not sure. I'll try that on real hardware in a minute. So pause this until hardware interrupt. Okay. I'm going to transition to 1 megahertz when you transition to monochrome. No, I need to keep all the processing time that we've got. I may transition to 1 megahertz for the intro just to save battery, but I don't think it really matters nowadays on these things. I think that's done it. Let me check in the debugger. So is it FF4D? So that's right down here. So that is this value here. And that is currently on FE, which means that the bit 7 is indeed set. And bit 7 is set to 1 if it's double speed. Okay, so let's just take that out and check the same thing again. And then I'm gonna load it onto memory card and give it a try. Oh god, that came up a bit too easy, didn't it? That's a bit weird. Yeah, it is. It does say it's a double speed. Okay, I'm going to leave that in there then because it makes sense to make sure that we have all the speed we can. This is our first ever Game Boy game, so I don't really care if it's not the most efficient game in the world. I certainly don't think I'll be writing many more after this. So, and it's a Game Boy Color only game, so it makes sense to use everything that the Game Boy Color has to offer. So, set double speed. Right, I'm going to compile this, and then I'm going to drop it onto the memory card and stick it in the Game Boy. Yeah, this is. I'm going to be running this on the Game Boy Advance in a second, so you will see it. I just want to see if that jitter is still there or if it's gone. Let's give this a try. I don't know if you guys can see that. Probably not. I'll get the game loaded up first. There we go. It's kind of hard to see. That seems perfectly smooth as well. So I think the emulator just has some glitches with some stuff. So yeah, I think we'll stick with the 2 color mode, the 2 megahertz mode, even though it's 8. I don't know why they call it 2 megahertz mode. It winds me up that. But it looks perfectly fine. That it's smooth. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Pleased with that. It's probably a bit easier to see on that one because the camera isn't set to be so so bright, so dark. Sorry, but you can see it's nice and smooth. Everything's kind of running all right. I mean, he walks a bit funny still, but we'll sort that out. Yeah, that's good. So pleased with that. Right, I'm going to leave that there for tonight. I'm going to take a quick break, and then when I come back, I'm going to have an hour, I think, on yeah. I'm going to have an hour on Last of Us 2. Fingers crossed if it all loads up. Thanks to anybody who came along just for the code tonight. Isn't going to stick around for the gaming. I completely understand if you don't want to. A final reminder, I'll shut up about it after this, at least until Thursday. Drop into subscriber requests if you are a sub. Put your request in for what games we're going to give away on the giveaway stream, which will be 2 weeks from now, I think. Let's say at the earliest a week on Saturday, but probably 2 weeks on Saturday. It should be a Commodore 64 cartridge game. Because I'm not sure who's going to be able to use tapes, who's going to be able to use this. We can throw a few tape games in there. I think tapes probably there are probably some people who can run tapes, but let's start with the cartridge games. I'm going to put Sam's Journey in there for the first game, but we can get up to about £100 worth of games quite easily. So. Just have a look through the new publishers, have a look what sort of games you'd like to see, and I'll give them away. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks guys. I'll be back in 5 minutes, hopefully with PlayStation 3 going. So, be right back.